Hello, this is Toby, the Galactic Intuitive. How's everybody doing? You guys, it seems like I haven't sat here at this desk and spoken with you in forever. And I know it's only been a few days, but man, has it been a busy few days. And we talked about not too long ago, maybe the last video I did, about the boundary that this Aries full moon is bringing in on October the 6th. And I have felt it. I have been experiencing that for the last few days in particular. It was been building for the last, for a while. And we talked about that too, about how this is, I was hearing a culmination point of, and now I'm hearing, where are you going to stand? Which side of the boundary are you going to stand on? Because we are no longer able to straddle that line. And what I've been hearing over the last few days, the last week, baseline, and what is your new baseline, has been coming up. It's been coming up in conversation around other people in different situations. It's been coming up for me internally and mentally. And as I've been taking care of all these personal things over the last few days, I knew that when the opportunity came for me to sit down with you again, that this baseline, this new baseline, would be what we spoke about. So that is what we were talking about today. And the baseline does refer to that boundary, the boundary between, I started to say the old you and the new you, but it's a boundary in the expression of the old new and the new you that actually it resides within, whether or not it's those two things are integrated. I don't know that I'm explaining that very well. So the boundary is, are you operating from an integrated place where you can recognize those behaviors of old you and bring the wisdom from those into that new now you, and incorporate those tools and the lessons and the knowledge and the medicine? Or are you operating from a place where you may have awareness? And I think you do. You have awareness of those behaviors and things of the old you, but the wisdom and the medicine may not be integrated enough for you to take that information and allow it to mix with the new now you, so that you are so that you're not bypassing what has happened in the past, but you're taking that information and actually utilizing it. You stepped fully so much into your sovereignty that it's not that you're operating from a place of that. And this is where the boundary comes in. You're not operating from a place of, these things happen to me. And yes, you may understand some information, some medicine that has to do with those situations, those experiences. But the boundary is what is truly what is your perspective of the past you. There's the boundary. What is your perspective of the past you? And it's your perspective that really determines whether or not you are able to take the fullness of the medicine and the wisdom of those past experiences, of past you, and integrate it into new now you fully, so that you're able to utilize that medicine, that wisdom, those tools. And it's interesting because I started shuffling cards a little bit, and as I was shuffling the Star Tarot, this is the split here. And I'll show you what was on the left and what was on the right, because I feel like that is important too. We have the Nine of Swords was on the left, which is interesting because that's normally, well, we actually have two feminine figures here. So we have the Nine of Swords on the left. This is sleepless nights. This is extreme anxiety. This is extreme worry. This is extreme self-judgment I'm feeling from this as well. There's so much mental angst here that she's bombarded with it. And notice how it's all above her, but it's all coming from her mental space. She's created this prison herself. And on the right-hand side, we have the Empress. And the Empress is the divine feminine archetype. And we just talked about the divine feminine in the last reading, didn't we? We talked about operating in, oh my gosh, I don't know why I touched my hair. We talked about operating in the divine feminine and integrating that as well, right? Oh my gosh, my hair, you guys. Anyway, y'all don't care about my hair. So here's the boundary, right? The boundary between, are we going to continue to operate in this, which is this place of disempowerment, right? Where these things that have happened to us, they still keep us bound. They still are, I'm hearing, that's very intense, reigning supreme in our headspace. Or are we going to operate from the new now self and embody the Empress by bringing in that divine feminine archetype? You hear the fighter jets. That's interesting. They don't fly over my house too terribly often. There's something about an internal battle. There goes my light. There's something about an internal battle that is I'm going to stop picking up the two. I'm just going to pick up the individual cards. Why did I feel like I needed to make this harder and pick up the whole stack? That's this. That's this. That's this Nine of Swords energy. No, that's not how it's portrayed, or, you know, the traditional definition of the Nine of Swords. But this is what comes after the nine, is the Ten of Swords. Actually, I was thinking of the Ten of Wands, which is carrying a burden. But look at how she's bent over. I mean, it is a burden. It's a mental burden. And so why are we still hanging on to so much? Why do we feel like we have to hold? Why do we feel like we have to have our hands full when having our hands full doesn't allow us to hold anything new, to receive anything new? And that's the divine feminine energy. Why do we feel like we need to hold on to so much anyway and take responsibility for things that are probably not ours? So this is where the baseline comes in, because your baseline has shifted. You've been in the new now you long enough, right? That the new now you is the baseline. But now your baseline is being, I don't want to say tested, but challenged. It's being challenged. Because I'm getting the image of like a competitive runner. And as someone who's training to like run for a marathon or run a race of any type, I can imagine that they build up their speed over time. They build up their distance over time, right? So over time, that baseline shifts. And at some point you plateau at a baseline, but when you reach, let's see, where am I going? Where's this analogy going, guys? Where are they going with this? It's time to challenge this baseline. So it is This has been a bit of a plateau, but it's not a plateau that is that marks a space where nothing has happened. It is a plateau in that this was a space of integration. Now it is time to, what are they saying? Oh, I'm gonna hang on just a second. Sorry about that. I don't want to cough in the camera. They're saying that there is a formalizing of this new baseline. Formalizing not in making it formal, but in putting form to it. Does that make sense? A solidification is also kind of what I'm getting. Oh, there goes the nose. So a solidification of this new baseline, and you're going to feel it challenged. And again, around this full moon in Aries, and we are bumping right up against it. This is October 3rd. The full moon in Aries is on October 6th. Somewhere around this time frame, or possibly in the 2 weeks after the full moon, between the full moon and then the next new moon, you're going to notice that your new baseline is being challenged. And it's an opportunity. It's not to see it as a test, but, and I mean, you can look at it that way if you want to. I prefer to look at it in, and I have to remind myself of this too. So it's not like it just automatically pops into my mind that, oh, this isn't a test and it's just a challenge. But I remind myself that it's an opportunity to make a different choice. It's an opportunity to put these skills and these tools and these practices into play in a tangible way in my day-to-day human life, because that's what we're here to do. That's what we're here to do. We're here to bring the spiritual into this human day-to-day existence, and to bring the spiritual into the mundane, bring the esoteric even into the mundane. That's interesting. Yeah. So let's do a couple more cards, but that popped out. Oh, look at this. Look at what was right behind the Nine of Swords, you guys. The Nine of Cups. This is like wish fulfillment. Cups being full. Satisfaction. Dreams fulfilled. Dreams fulfilled. So there's something that happens when we move beyond this and we cross that boundary, allow ourselves to really integrate and operate from this new baseline. And this is when we see things really coming into fruition in a way that is fulfilling for us on an emotional level. All right, so let's shuffle these a little bit more. If I can get my hands to work. These cards are so long. My fingers aren't quite long enough. All right, let's see. We'll do it a different way. So how have you guys been? How's everything? Can I talk? How's everybody been? How's everybody doing? I appreciate your patience and your understanding. I'm going to do my best to stay consistent. There is still a lot going on in my personal life, so that I will need to attend to. However, I'll still be here too. And as I said before, there are still new offers coming. Just give me a little bit more time and I will get those out to you guys. I really hope within the next week I can get that to you. All right, let's see. What else? What else about this baseline do we need to know, please? Wow, we're really getting the nines here. Let's do another one. Another two, they're saying. We have the Nine of Wands, Seven of Cups, Eight of Swords. Yeah, that Eight of Swords is like what we were talking about. Let me show you these. Interesting. 7, 8, and 9. Give me just a second. Let me... It's interesting because the Nine of Wands is normally considered like the Wounded Warrior card. The card of resilience, overcoming battles and having scars because of it. And I feel like with this card, though, we have this beautiful balance of the white, the light, and then the dark wolf. And so, and even in the wands behind him, you know, he's holding the Ace of Wands here, and he's got the Four of Wands on either side. There's our foundation. The Four of Wands is about, in the tarot, is about building a new foundation, a strong foundation. It can even be a commitment towards something that is the foundation of a structure or a project, I'm hearing. So this represents all what we just talked about the build up into getting to this new baseline, and the difference between the two sides of that boundary. And these wands represent the wisdom, the medicine, the tools, the insight, the knowledge that you've gained through this process of learning about yourself, of diving deep into your shadow, of expressing your light, of healing different aspects of self or wounds or traumas. And look, we have the full moon here, and then we have the sun. This card is very, very balanced. This is that balanced place of being over the boundary and being in that place of integration of all of that learning and that wisdom. The word medicine just keeps coming through strongly. They keep saying medicine, the medicine, the medicine. And what's really interesting is that then we have the Seven of Cups, right? So the Seven of Cups is about, in the traditional tarot, it's about having options. Sometimes it can be about illusions. With this particular card, I'm getting a sense of hope, but that's really... The initial way that I was reading this is this is you embodying the new now you, having integrated past you's information, right? This is you on the new now side of the boundary. And this is kind of like those challenges. There will be these opportunities, many choices that need to be made. And it's important that you, well, again, the invitation here is that if you want to stay on this side of the boundary and the new now part of the boundary, the guidance here is to maintain this balanced perspective, have awareness of one's shadow, and operate from a balanced place of light and shadow within you, the integration of all aspects of self, because otherwise it may be tempting to, because of some sort of illusory sense of hope, it almost feels like nostalgia. you may get swept up in this and then be back in the mental headspace, the trapped mental headspace of the Eight of Swords. Now, see, this is the Eight of Swords. This comes before the Nine of Swords. The Nine of Swords is where we started this. So it would suggest some regression. So there's a very important reminder here to be in this place of balance and to not overlook one's own shadow and to not try to ignore it and to not try to bypass it, but it's to, I mean, he has the darkness inside his cloak, but that is also what houses that Ace of Wands. That's your inspiration. That's, it is even the drive and motivation and creativity towards action that is aligned with that new now you. And so that, look, it's equally balanced in the light and in the dark. Very, very important reminder there. Very interesting. All right, let's see. Do we have, oh my gosh, how's it been 20 minutes already? Let's do an oracle before we wrap this up. All right, since we're talking about internal stuff, let's look at the inner temple. We haven't used this oracle deck in a minute. If anyone is interested in a personal reading, if you would like to explore like these themes and what this Aries full moon is bringing up for you personally, please feel free to reach out to me. The email is in the description box, or you can just go ahead and book through the links in the description box. I would be more than happy and honored to read for you. All right, let's see, what do we have here about this new baseline? Oh, that was quick. Oh, wow, the beauty way. Interesting. I think I might read this one. Give me just a second. I'm really taken by the 3 lotus flowers and how there's a reflection of everything in here in this card. I didn't hold it up there long enough for you to see it, did I? All right, let's see what the author says. Beauty is about much more than appearance and aesthetics. Beauty always has a deeper purpose, and it doesn't try to be anything other than what it is, which is why it takes our breath away. Life is beautiful, but it isn't pretty. Beauty is very different from pretty. Pretty is perfect, but it's static, fixed, paper thin. It holds no substance. It has no depth, and it's not really alive. Pretty never lasts, but beauty is timeless. Beauty holds the essence of life. It contains within the great mystery. Yeah, here's that polarity that we talked about with the light and the dark. Birth and death are beautiful. Love is beautiful. Friendship is beautiful. Growth is beautiful. All things that are beautiful have a tension within them. Perhaps it's this tension that makes them beautiful, for we appreciate how much of a blessing and a miracle they are when we witness them in their fleeting state. In that never to be seen again moment. Babies are beautiful. Flowers are beautiful. The ocean is beautiful. Life is beautiful. You're beautiful. Beauty transforms the beholder through its brutal honesty. It activates the breath of life as we exhale in awe, and this brings us into the present moment. If you open your eyes, you'll see that this world is made up of such beauty, and if you do your best to acknowledge it, when you can, you'll be brought instantly into the present moment. You'll be inspired to embrace your true nature and sacred purpose, for it's the fact that all things change that make them all the more beautiful in each moment. This card is a reminder to seek the beauty of this world and your life, and in turn to create beauty wherever you go. The inner temple activation. I open my heart to see the beauty that's all around me. Oh, that is lovely. This is referring back to what I was talking about the integration of the past self and those wisdoms, those learnings, that medicine with the new now self. This is speaking to that perspective, because it's the perspective that allows you to step across that boundary. What is your perspective of those experiences? What is your perspective of the shadow within you? How do you speak? How do you label it? How do you name it? What are the adjectives and adverbs you use to describe it? Because that's going to determine what your baseline is right now and where you are in regards to that boundary. So if you're able to see the beauty in all of your life, then you're able to integrate the shadow and the light. You're able to integrate the wisdoms of difficulty and challenge with the wisdoms of ease and flow. You're able to integrate the wisdoms of life and death. Interesting, they're saying of stagnancy and renewal. There's value in all of it, and there's beauty in all of it. But until we reach that point of being able to honestly believe that and witness that and hold the energy of that belief within us, then there will be parts that are still have the potential to be integrated. And this is not to encourage any judgment of self, because we all still have things that we're learning and that we are integrating. This is merely an invitation and of what to look at. And they're also saying a place marker. A marker of a section of the particular journey that you are on at this moment. All right, I'm going to leave it there. It's so good to be back with you guys. I have missed you. I hope you're doing well, and thank you so much for being here. I appreciate your presence, your support, and I'll be back very soon. Thank you.